Hello and welcome back to the show. Today we're taking a close look at Ujjivan Small Finance Bank Limited. They've just released their numbers for the fourth quarter and the full financial year 2025.
That's right. Ujjivan SFB, a prominent small finance bank in India, focuses on providing financial services to the unserved and underserved segments. They have a significant presence across the country and have been in the news recently, especially regarding their application for a universal banking license.
Interesting. So these are the audited results for the year ended March 31st, 2025 and reviewed results for the quarter ended the same date. The board approved these on April 30th, 2025. Let's dive into the financials. How did they perform on the top line, say interest earned, compared to last year and the previous quarter?
Okay, looking at the consolidated results for the bank, and it's important to note these are bank level figures, as separate standalone results aren't presented in this format. For the fourth quarter ended March 31st, 2025, the interest earned stood at approximately 1,573 crore rupees. Comparing this year over year, it's a slight increase of about 3% from the 1,529 crore rupees earned in the fourth quarter of financial year 2024.
A 3% year-over-year growth in interest earned. And how does that look sequentially, comparing Q4 to Q3 of financial year 2025?
Quarter over quarter, interest earned was actually down slightly by about 1% from the 1,591 crore rupees reported in the third quarter ended December 31st, 2024. So a modest year-over-year growth, but a small dip sequentially in Q4. For the full financial year 2025, interest earned was 6,354 crore rupees, up 12% from 5,677 crore rupees in financial year 2024.
What about other income? Did that play a significant role?
Yes, other income for Q4 financial year 2025 was around 270 crore rupees. That's up 14% year-over-year from 236 crore rupees in Q4 financial year 2024. Sequentially, it showed strong growth, up 57% from 172 crore rupees in Q3 financial year 2025. For the full year, other income came in at 846 crore rupees, an 8% increase from the previous year.
So combining interest earned and other income, what was the total income picture for Q4?
Total income for Q4 financial year 2025 was 1,843 crore rupees. This represents a 4% growth year-over-year from 1,765 crore rupees. Quarter over quarter, it showed a 5% increase from 1,763 crore rupees in Q3, driven mainly by that jump in other income. The full year total income was 7,201 crore rupees, up 11% year-over-year.
Now, let's look at profitability. How did the pre-provision operating profit or PPOP look? That gives a good sense of core operating performance before setting aside funds for potential bad loans and taxes.
Right. The pre-provision operating profit for Q4 financial year 2025 was 360 crore rupees. This is actually a significant drop, down 31% year-over-year from 519 crore rupees in Q4 financial year 2024. Sequentially, however, the PPOP was relatively flat, showing 0% change from the 359 crore rupees in Q3 financial year 2025.
Down 31% year-over-year, but flat quarter over quarter. What drove that yearly decline in PPOP? Was it higher expenses?
Exactly. Interest expended in Q4 financial year 2025 was 709 crore rupees, up 19% year-over-year. Operating expenses also rose significantly to 714 crore rupees, combining personal and other operating costs, which is up 23% year-over-year. Sequentially, interest expended was up only 1% and operating expenses were up 10% quarter over quarter. So the annual increase in both interest and operating expenses outpaced the total income growth, leading to that year-over-year PPOP decline. For the full year, PPOP was 1,689 crore rupees, down 12% from the previous year.
Understood. So after accounting for provisions and taxes, what was the final profit after tax or PAT?
The net profit after tax or PAT for Q4 financial year 2025 came in at 83 crore rupees. That's a steep 75% drop year-over-year compared to the 330 crore rupees profit in Q4 financial year 2024. Sequentially, it was down 23% from the 109 crore rupees profit in Q3 financial year 2025.
Wow, a 75% year-over-year drop in net profit. That seems largely driven by higher provisions. Then given the PPOP trend?
Precisely. Provisions other than tax and contingencies for Q4 financial year 2025 jumped to 265 crore rupees, compared to just 79 crore rupees in Q4 financial year 2024. That's a 235% increase year over year. They were also up 19% sequentially from 223 crore rupees in Q3. The press release mentions an accelerated provision of 46 crore rupees in Q4, and they also had a significant ARC transaction, selling stressed assets worth roughly 365 crore rupees in February 2025, which likely impacted provisions as they booked the shortfall. For the full year, PAT was 726 crore rupees, down 43% from 1,281 crore rupees in financial year 2024, mainly due to higher credit costs throughout the year.
That makes sense. And how did this translate into earnings per share or EPS?
The basic EPS for Q4 financial year 2025 was 0.43 rupees, down significantly from 1.71 rupees in Q4 financial year 2024, reflecting that drop in profit. It was also down from 0.56 rupees in Q3 financial year 2025. For the full year, basic EPS was 3.75 rupees, compared to 6.65 rupees in the previous year.
Okay, moving on from the income statement specifics, what about profitability margins like net interest margin or NIM? The presentation usually highlights this.
Yes, the investor presentation highlights the net interest margin or NIM. For the full financial year 2025, NIM stood at 8.8%, which is slightly down from 9.1% in financial year 2024. For Q4 specifically, the presentation notes NIM at 8.3%, down from 9.4% in Q4 of last year. So there's been some margin compression over the year and particularly in the last quarter.
Were there any significant exceptional items affecting the results this quarter or year?
The financial statement itself doesn't list any exceptional items for Q4 or the full year 2025. This suggests the profits, although lower, are reflective of the bank's core operations, interest expenses, and particularly the higher provisioning needs during the period.
Let's shift to the balance sheet. What were some key highlights as of March 31, 2025?
As of March 31, 2025, the total balance sheet size stood at 47,689 crore rupees. Deposits grew healthily to 37,630 crore rupees, up 20% year over year. Advances reached 31,390 crore rupees, an increase of 17% year over year, though the presentation notes the gross loan book at 32,122 crore rupees, showing 8% year over year growth. The difference likely relates to items like IBPC or securitization adjustments mentioned in the presentation footnotes. The net worth of the bank increased to 6,083 crore rupees from 5,613 crore rupees a year ago. A key point here is the increase in share capital due to the amalgamation of Ujjivan Financial Services Limited, the former holding company, with the bank effective April 30, 2024, with the appointed date being April 1, 2023. This added significant equity shares.
That deposit growth looks strong. Any insights into the bank's cash flows or dividend situation from the report?
The report includes a cash flow statement. For the year ended March 31, 2025, net cash flow generated from operating activities was strong at 2,028 crore rupees, compared to 1,593 crore rupees the previous year. Net cash used in investing activities was 1,793 crore rupees, mainly due to investments in HTM securities and purchase of fixed assets. Net cash generated from financing activities was 398 crore rupees, driven by proceeds from share issuance, post-amalgamation and ESOPs, and net increase in borrowings, partially offset by dividend payments. The statement notes a dividend paid during the year amounting to 29 crore rupees. The closing cash and cash equivalents stood at 3,157 crore rupees, up from 2,524 crore rupees at the start of the year.
Good to have that cash flow perspective. Now Ujjivan has different business segments like treasury, retail, and wholesale banking. How did they perform individually in Q4?
Let's break that down using the segment results before tax and interest. For Q4 financial year 2025, Treasury reported a profit of 33 crore rupees. This is down slightly from 35 crore rupees in Q4 of last year, but a significant improvement from the 12 crore rupees profit in Q3. Retail banking showed a profit of 45 crore rupees. This is a sharp decline from the 398 crore rupees profit in Q4 last year and also down from 114 crore rupees in Q3. This segment likely bore the brunt of the increased provisions. Wholesale banking posted a profit of 32 crore rupees, up considerably from 18 crore rupees in Q4 last year and also up from 22 crore rupees in Q3. Unallocated had a loss of 15 crore rupees, slightly higher than the 12 crore loss last year and the 12 crore loss in Q3.
So retail banking's profit took a major hit in Q4, likely due to provisions, while wholesale and treasury performed relatively better compared to the previous quarter.
Exactly. For the full year, retail banking still contributed the most profit at 844 crore rupees, but this was down significantly from 1605 crore rupees the previous year. Treasury profit was 74 crore rupees, down from 93 crore, and wholesale banking profit improved to 79 crore rupees, up from 54 crore.
How does the overall performance stack up year over year, and what context can we draw from the management commentary in the presentation?
Summarizing the year-over-year picture for the full year 2025, total income grew 11%, but higher operating expenses, up 21%, and significantly higher credit costs, provisions up 248%, led to a 43% decline in net profit. Management commentary highlights navigating challenges in the microbanking segment while strategically growing the secured loan book, now 44% of the portfolio, up from 30% last year. They emphasized improving collection efficiencies, especially the Bucket X reaching 99.5% in March. They also noted the highest ever quarterly disbursements in Q4 and strong CASA growth. Asset quality metrics like gross NPA stood at 2.2% and net NPA at 0.5% as of March 25th, with a provision coverage ratio of 78%.
Okay, that context is useful. Were there any other significant notes in the financial statements we should be aware of?
A few key points. Note 5 details. The adoption of new RBI norms for classifying investments from April 1, 2024, leading to a net gain recognized in reserves on transition. It also states the impact on the previous period is not ascertainable, making investment income comparisons potentially difficult. Note 8 explains the amalgamation with Ujjivan Financial Services Limited, detailing the share allotment and accounting treatment based on the pooling of interest method, effective from April 1, 2023, the appointed date. Note 12 clarifies the utilization of 6,933 lakh rupees, 69.33 crore rupees from the floating provision to cover the shortfall on the ARC sale, leaving 18,067 lakh rupees, 180.67 crore rupees in floating provisions. Note 16 mentions the application submitted for a universal banking license in February 2025.
Very important notes. Now, critically, what did the auditors say? You mentioned Deloitte Haskins and Sells, and Abarna and Ananthan were the joint auditors. Any qualifications or concerns?
This is a key strength in this report. The joint statutory auditors issued an unmodified opinion on the audited financial results for the year ended March 31, 2025. This essentially means they found the annual financial statements to be presented fairly, in all material respects, in accordance with the applicable accounting standards and regulations. For the quarter ended March 31, 2025, they issued an unmodified conclusion based on their limited review. A limited review is less in scope than a full audit, but provides assurance that nothing has come to their attention, suggesting material misstatement. So, effectively, it's a clean report from the auditors for both the quarter and the full year.
An unmodified opinion is definitely positive news. So considering the financials, the segment performance, management commentary, and the clean auditor's report, what's the outlook for Ujjivan SFB?
Disclaimer: as always, listeners should consult with certified financial advisors before making any investment decisions. The outlook for Ujjivan SFB appears mixed, but cautiously optimistic. Positives include strong deposit growth, improving CASA ratio, successful diversification towards secured loans, robust collection efficiency in microbanking despite earlier stress, a clean auditor's report, and the strategic step towards a universal banking license. However, the significant drop in annual profitability due to higher credit costs is a concern, although Q4 provisions included accelerated amounts and ARC impacts. Margin pressure (NIM) is also evident. Key drivers going forward will be sustaining loan growth, especially in secured segments, managing credit costs effectively, improving profitability metrics, ROA/ROE, and successfully navigating the transition if the universal bank license is granted. Risks include potential slowdowns in credit offtake, any resurgence in credit stress in the microbanking segment, integration challenges post-amalgamation, and the competitive banking landscape.
Great summary. So to wrap up, Ujjivan Small Finance Bank finished financial year 2025 with decent top-line growth and strengthened its balance sheet through deposit mobilization and diversification. Profitability took a hit due to necessary higher provisioning, but underlying operational metrics like collections and secured loan growth show positive trends. The Clean Auditor's report is a definite plus, and the Universal Bank application marks a significant strategic ambition.
Exactly. It seems like a year of transition and consolidation, setting the stage for future growth, but investors will be keenly watching the trajectory of credit costs and profitability margins in the coming quarters.
Excellent analysis. Thanks for breaking that down for us. And thank you all for tuning in.